All right, so officially welcome everyone to day number 2 of your Spiritual Business Unblocked. It's nice to see all of you, your names, your faces, and welcoming all of you in Facebook land, and also always welcoming those of you who are watching the replays. We put a little poll in the Facebook group, and about 50% of you all said, I'm going to catch the replays. So we have a lot of people who are catching up that way as well. So here we go with day number 2. I'm going to invite you in the chat to, whether you're in Zoom or whether you're on Facebook, how did it go with your open-ended questions? And I didn't get back to everyone today because I did say who's open to some suggestions on your open-ended questions. And people said yes on Facebook. So how did it go? How did it feel to start feeling shifts in your energy with the open-ended questions? All right, so just invite you to pop into the chat what that was like, what you felt, what you noticed. And I'm going to make a general statement here. And oh, great. I love them. Somebody says. All right. So there's a subtle difference with these in a way that will shift your energy and a way that won't. All questions are not open-ended questions. All questions are not open-ended questions. One way you can do it is feel the energy of them. Do they feel like I'm getting more expansive, or am I looking for an answer? If you're looking for an answer, and that's especially true if you say, I've got an open-ended question about something in the past. Generally, an open-ended question about something that happened in the past is you're looking for an answer, a solution, an understanding. And so you're really looking for a hard answer. Open-ended questions tend to be very present and future-oriented, okay? And so feel into the questions. And also, here's what I want to share with you. If you ask a question of yourself that you want it to be open-ended, but you're really focusing on a problem, I'm going to invite you to shift up the question. So, for example, oh, let me think of an example. I'm trying to think of some of the ones that I read today, that it's not that they're wrong, but they're not going to get you what you want. All right. Like if you're focused on, let's just pretend you have a bad experience at work. All right. And you say, I wonder what it would be like, or what if I could work in a situation where I'm not with dingbats every day and idiots. Okay. I'm being dramatic, just, right. But the idea, can you see how that's kind of negative? Like, I wonder when I'm ever going to be done with working with dingbats and idiots. Okay. You can say, but it's a question, Holly. It's open-ended because I'm curious about it. But we want it that's going to really shift our energy. We could say, I wonder what it would be like to go to work every day in an incredibly positive and supportive environment with people who we all really enjoy each other. Can you feel the difference? How many of you can feel that difference, right? Can you? Yeah. So play with this and notice what you've been experiencing around that and keep working with it, okay? And you'll start feeling the energetic difference with them. And if you're not sure, pop a question in the chat in the Facebook group. And I did say in the Facebook group under that post or somewhere in there that, if you want me to give you some feedback on your question, some of you said, yes, I will. Just give me a couple days to get to answer all those, but I'll definitely do that for all of you. So I'm just looking back at some of the comments in the chat here. Produces a calming effect, right? And I had some questions and received some answers, but I did not know where to post them to share. So if you're not sure where to post them, every single day there is a really nice picture. I can't take credit for it, a beautiful graphics team made all those beautiful pictures, but you'll just have to scroll in the feed and you'll find it. There's one is like day number 1, and then tonight at 9:05 Eastern time, a new one's it's programmed to go up in there, and it'll say number 2. You want to put it in the comments below that image. That's how we'll find them. Okay. And if you can still ask in the Facebook group if you want, like, hey, where's that thing? And I'll make sure that you can find it. Somebody else had some questions around that. And remember, open-ended questions, we're not looking for answers. Doesn't matter. We're not looking for an answer. Like, what if I'm curious about when my next client is coming, and now you want to hear that, oh, they'll be here tomorrow or next week? We're not looking for answers. That's the beauty of it. All right. And so I'm just going to quickly go through some of these that, they loved it because it was creating a positive outlook. It really does. Calming, could really feel things moving and shifting, and really good. Came up with a lot more than I thought and continued getting more through the day. Right. It really shifts our perspective. And when we're feeling better, we know we're shifting our energy. Right. So keep going with all that. So, all right, wonderful. Well, here we start with day number 2. And wait, you know what? I'm sorry. I'm neglecting Facebook people. I'm so sorry. Let's see. Okay, I'm not seeing any feedback in Facebook. Oh, wait, the questions were great and felt interesting. All right, wonderful. All right. Now, before we really go deep into this, I want to remind everyone, especially if you weren't here yesterday, you'll see Lacey. She's here in support of me. And so if you have a question that's tech related, see, she's waving her hands, and you can put it, she's watching the Facebook chat as well as the Zoom chat. So if there's something you need help with or a question that you can direct to her, just put your name in there and she'll help you the best she can while we're doing all this. All right. So it's so great to have her here helping out. All right, so let's get rolling today. Today's, a big day. I know that a lot of people have been excited about this, and this is where, as you know, this whole program, these 5 days, is about energy and about our energy and how we can positively shift our energy to get in alignment with the vision, the desires, that impulse that wants to birth through us. And so yesterday we started that out with that idea of your vision, where you're currently at. We felt that gap in between. We went through those foundational energy concepts and then talked about the super simple thing that we've been talking about, those open-ended questions. And what we're wanting to do here in all of these 5 days is getting your energies moving in a new direction, creating new flows of possibility for you. And I know you've heard me say this already, but the truth is that all the great marketing programs, all the branding strategies, all the gorgeous websites, prepackaged funnels, all of it, when you see somebody successfully working them, it's because they are energetically aligned. Let's not kid ourselves that it's the branding, it's the website. Those are like the frosting on the foundation of the cake. The people who you see who are successful are energetically aligned. Therefore, their actions, no matter what they are, achieve what you see as potential results. Okay. So you want to be energetically aligned first in the areas of being seen, offering your gifts, giving and receiving, that whole money thing, and energy, of course, worthy of being successful, and just generally breaking through all the older patterns. We can't get to where we wish to be or where our vision is calling us if we are not an energetic match. Okay, so as you heard yesterday, I don't find that as a problem. I just know, oh, that's how I get there. We need to work on being an energetic match. So we need to get our beautiful inner energetic matrix aligned with the resonance of success on all levels that are right and true for our mission and purpose. And there's something else I want to say around this. I talk a lot about this. I've talked about it in our Wellspring Lives. I talk about this more in the Spiritual Business Accelerator program, but often when we're here and we feel our vision there, we're not going to get there in one step. We're going to say, oh, this is my soul aligned step. And we're going to take a step. We're going to feel good. We're going to feel like we made progress. So if you don't have a business and you get your first client, that's amazing. If you get your first paying client, that's amazing. They start sharing with their friends and you get a few more. That's amazing. You have enough clients that you're raising your price. That's amazing. You have people are starting to talk about you and they invite you to speak at a group. That's amazing. And you keep growing. And so it's all in these soul aligned steps that you need to have confidence that you can do it in a way that where you're still going to feel happy, safe, and secure. Might you be pushing your edges sometimes? Sure. Doesn't mean you don't get nervous. How many of you would think I would be nervous before starting today? Let me know. What do you think? Do you think I would be nervous before starting today? Yeah, I am. Have I done this a trillion times? Have I talked about the Akashic Records more times than I can imagine? I sure have. Do I still get nervous? Do I still have an edge there? Of course I do. We're not going to be without that, right? We're all human. We all have that sort of excitement, fear. We just don't want it to hold us back. You know, I would never have thought about not showing up today. I just have to take some breaths, Holly. You're going to be fine. You know, I do a little self-soothing, right? Everything's going to be fine. That's where we take these steps. We're going to feel a little edgy, a little nervous. It's okay. The key is, how do we make a step that doesn't stop us? And that's what we're working on with all of that. So today is the Akashic Records. And let me just back up. I'm getting ahead of myself in my notes here. All right. So what I want to start mentioning again here is that oftentimes what we're trying to do when we're creating change is we try to do it from the outside, right? I'm going to try to do this with somebody's idea there, or I'm going to, I keep picking on websites and font colors and fonts and colors and all that. And I will, just because it's fun and it's easy. But we're going to try a new marketing idea, or we think, oh, I've got to get my website made, or I have to get on social media and I hate it. Oh, they're doing this, so maybe I need to do that, right? We think it's an outside thing, but those outer changes are far less likely to change our real experience until we get into a new energetic pattern, as we spoke about yesterday, okay? So now, listen, there are tons of ways of creating new energetic patterns, tons of them. And the truth is, you probably know many different tools that can do that. You might even help other people create energetic change with your modalities, your experiences. Now, for me, one of the best tools that I know to support inner energetic change and shifts are the Akashic Records. And that's where you're going to be introduced to that. So, how many of you, and you can raise your hand, put a thumbs up, whatever you want to do in the chat, say yes. How many of you have already had experiences with the Akashic Records for today? Okay, put a yes, thumbs up. Okay, awesome. And if you have not, you can put in a no, a thumbs down, whatever you want. Just let me know. I just want to get kind of a sense of where we're at here. Okay, so we have some yeses, some nos, and some I'm not seeing. All right. Okay, and I'm just checking on Facebook now. All right. Okay, so we have a variety. We have a variety of people. All right. So Lacey, when I do this, are you seeing the whole gallery or just me? Okay, she fixed it.
Something is happening where it shifts from the spotlight into the gallery. It's done
Okay.
it twice.
No, so I've done that so I can see people.
Okay,
But
gotcha. Yes.
I
Then
thought
that shifts the video to gallery.
Okay, thank you. All right, so thank you for that. So we have a variety of experiences, and so we're going to just start talking first about what the Akashic records are, just to give us all the same foundation. If you're well experienced with the Akasha, just take it on as a little bit of review for you. Is that slide up there, Lacey? Number 2. So when we start talking about the Akashic records, what we want to first do is say, well, this Akashic record, let's talk about what the Akasha is. By the way, this is a very high level, very quick intro to the Akashic records. When I teach my courses in it, when we do the Spiritual Business Accelerator program, we go into this a lot deeper, but we're doing this enough to get you started here, okay? So what are the Akasha? Can you go back to slide number 2, please, Lacey? What is the Akasha? Please. And so the Akasha, actually, I find it a beautiful word. For many of us, it's not a common word because it's Sanskrit. And the meaning of the word Akasha in Sanskrit means, one more back, please. There should be 2 with that title. All right, we'll just leave it there. Sanskrit, yeah, that's good. You're fine. It's a Sanskrit word, and it means primordial substance. It also is translated as ether. But more than anything else, what we want to do is understand that it's this primary energy or essence, that really all things are formed from this essence. So it's like an energetic building block. That's how I think of it, that exists throughout our entire universe. All right. Now, it's not something that we believe in. It just is. And the energies, I want to share more than anything else. I want you to understand what these energies are. They're vibrational frequencies, and they're basically unconditional love. So you could call that God or source energy, right? That we know as unconditional love. So what are the qualities of unconditional love? It's kind, compassionate, non-judgmental, accepting, understanding. Okay? The foundational energies of the Akasha are all of these. Number 1, this is also who we are at our core. It's what the universe is. It's also what we're striving to be and understand about ourselves, isn't it? Now, when we open the Akashic records, this is the energy that you're immersed in. You are in a soup, if you will, an energetic soup of this kind of level of love, compassion, kindness, understanding. Okay. And I personally believe that every time we go into the Akashic records, no matter what, since we're immersed in it, we're in training to that more. I feel like working in this dimension magnifies these inherent qualities that are the core energy of who we are. Now, let's talk about what the Akashic records are. And so we could go to the next slide, please, Lacey. And what they are is the record. Let me back up a minute. This highly sensitive field of the Akasha is so sensitive that anything happens just gets stored there, or quote unquote recorded there. All right. So what is it recording? Everything, every thought. And it's said in one book that talks about the Akashic records, every thought, word, and deed. So that means everything from mundane, forgettable things to very big and dramatic things. Now, as a soul, you've been creating your own Akashic records throughout all of your incarnated experiences. That's how you have a record. They're all the things you've thought, all the things you've done, all the things you've experienced throughout all time. It's a timeless space, so it includes past, present, and future potentials. All right. Now, we can go to the next slide, please, Lacey. So by tapping into our Akashic records, what you're doing is you're opening up to your soul's wisdom, your deep inner wisdom. And most of us, that's what we're wishing we could access, right? If I could just tap in to what I'm here for, what I know about myself, what I'm here to do, these things that I know are inside of me. No, not only when we are, I don't believe it's only when we're incarnated on planet Earth to answer that question, but that's a big question we have to discuss at a different time. But so what we're doing is we're opening up into our soul's history, our soul's present, and our soul's future potential. And then also how that expresses in this human incarnation. So when you're in your Akashic records, you're energetically aligning with your core soul energies. And then as you do, and you receive guidance, inspiration, alignment from that space, it supports you in moving forward in your life right here, right now, aligned with more and more aligned with these core essences. Okay. Now, I want to tell you something important here. Everyone has an Akashic record. This is not whether you believe in them or not. It has nothing to do with a religion. So just us living our lives creates a record. Not everyone is curious or interested in understanding themselves at that level. It's fine. It's fine. But I just want you to understand that this isn't about a religious thought form or belief in any way. We all have Akashic records. Some of us get to the point in our cycle of incarnations where we're curious about more. All right. And then we come to be curious about the Akashic records. We might start hearing about it. So now, how does this work in terms of being in business or in growing our spiritual practice? The Akashic records support our alignment also with our mission and our purpose. Okay. Now, I want to talk about what the Akashic records are not, so we don't bring any old energies into this. And so this would be the next slide. Lacey, please. Next one. Okay, thank you. They are not psychic. They're not predictive. It's not fortune telling. So the idea is, oh, I want to go into my Akashic records and find out when I'm going to die. I've had people ask me that. When is he going to ask me to marry him? Is my business going to be successful? Those are all predictive questions because we have this beautiful thing called our free will. And so we're here to create and co-create our lives. So we're not going to go in there and have quote unquote someone else, our Akashic records, our guides in the records tell us what to do. We're here to discover what's inside of us and use the vibrational alignment to move us into action alignment in our life with the Akashic records. So we're not going to go in and ask, tell me what to do. What should the name of my business be? Am I going to be successful? Will I make 6 figures this year? Will I make any money this year? That, can you all see how those are predictive questions? Predictive questions. Now, we're not here to go into a deep dive into the Akashic records. That's what some of the other classes are for. But just to give you a highlight of that, it's similar to open-ended questions. The idea in the Akashic records is if you want to know what the best name for your business would be, come up with some ideas. And then talk about them in the Akashic records. And then assume you're going to get a feeling about what energetically feels right for you, as an example. And I won't go down that rabbit hole. So we want to just be able to know that we want to be in there, ask questions, and receive guidance in ways where we're not thinking somebody else is going to tell us what to do, when to do, and how to do it. Now, the Akashic Records is a sacred space of you. It's your birthright, in my opinion, to be able to connect with your inner wisdom. And as you begin to learn this, I want you to hold that close in your heart, that it's your birthright to be able to be in here. All right? You may not have actually ever chosen to connect with yourself in a human incarnation before this lifetime. Okay? This may be breaking new ground for you in the evolution of your own personal awareness on your soul's journey. So the future works in the Akashic Records is future potential. Potential. Because you see, nothing is set in stone. There is nothing set in stone. So if I go into my Akashic Records, sorry, I'm digressing because of a question that came in. Right now, my whole life, really since I was less than a teenager, I've kind of been on a spiritual journey. And I really always have been. And the core of it for me, I don't know how many of you can relate to this, but a lot of my spiritual journey is trying to allow myself to feel comfortable. Can anyone relate to that? Like, just feel like I'm okay. And liking myself or feeling confident, you know, all those things. So I started taking myself on a spiritual journey when I look back on it when I was about 11. Now, for me, the spiritual journey began by taking myself to church in a non-church going, non-religious family. I walked myself to church as an 11-year-old, which now that I think about, like, that's weird or unusual, right? So, but I was seeking then, and I always have been. So the core of my life has been seeking. One way or another, I'm always doing that. Now, so when I look at the future, when it comes to the Akashic Records, and I'm going in there and asking future-oriented questions, the guidance, the energy, the understanding I'm going to receive is based generally on the direction that I'm headed, right? That's where my energetic flow is. Now, some of you may have heard me say this before because I like to tell this ridiculous story. I could tomorrow, if I wanted to, because of free will, become a cross-country truck driver. Couldn't I? I could. I'd probably have to go back to school, figure out how to drive big trucks. So that would change my trajectory, wouldn't it? If I let go of everything I'm doing here and decided I'm going to just go become a cross-country truck driver, not that there's anything wrong with that. That's just really wildly divergent from what I do, right? I could do that because I have free will. Now, mostly free will happens in much smaller increments than this really broad thing I'm talking about, but it brings the point home. If I get my future potential based on a direction I'm going, and I, out of my free will, make another choice, that I just changed that timeline. I just changed that potential. So I want to go in and get a new potential. And the truth is, we want, most of the time when we want the future locked down, what are we really looking for? We want reassurance, don't we? Like, oh, I'm going to be okay. It's going to be okay in the end. And so we think some of this data will help us. But when we have access to the Akashic Records, we can go in and help ourselves feel great about where we are right now, today, and where we are tomorrow, and where we are next month. And if we can get ourselves aligned with the truth of who we are in every single small moment and make those micro adjustments, the future takes care of itself. The future takes care of itself. Yeah, somebody says here, I never considered that me going to church by myself as a child as part of my spiritual journey. Yeah, I never did until maybe 5 or 10 years ago. I went, wow, because I started walking it back. When did this journey of mine start? It's been so consistent. And I kept going back. Oh, I did that thing in high school. And then, oh, I did that again. Say it again, how the future. Oh, if we're making very small every single day alignments to what our truth is, so that we feel completely aligned, like I'm in the right place, doing the right thing with the right people. Doesn't mean we have to love all of it, but right? Because we can be in a place that might not be comfortable, but it could be exactly the right place for us. But if every single day, every single month, every single year, you say, hey, I'm good. I trust where I am. I see myself growing. We're very now oriented, and we're not projecting worry, fear, and concern into the future. The future takes care of itself, because if we're aligned now and the next now and the next now, we don't need to worry about the future, because we have confidence in whatever that will be. Because if any of you look back 5, 10, 20 years ago, would you expect to be where you are right now? Most of us would say no, we wouldn't have known. So guess what? You're not going to know now what the next 5 or 10 years is going to look like, or 20 years. You're not going to know. There's going to be things that are going to be different than you wouldn't even imagine. Okay. So I'm getting distracted here. I get excited. All right. So great questions coming in. So let's talk about the Akashic Records again. Let's dive into this. Now, there are many, many different ways to open the Akashic Records. I am not here to tell you that one way is better than the other. I would never say that. So if you get in there by meditating, you've been in a hypnosis session, you've learned another way to open the Akashic Records, somebody has taken you on a guided experience into that, you did a mushroom journey or something, and you ended up knowing you're in the Akashic Records. It doesn't matter, my opinion, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how you get there. Listen, there are many doors that lead into it. So what I'm going to be introducing you to is something that came out of my work in the records, but what was funny is I wasn't looking for it. I was literally in my Akashic Records one morning, sitting out on the porch in the pine trees in California, in my Akashic Records, which I'd love to do, take my tea out on the deck in the morning in the pine trees and be in my records. And suddenly these words started coming in. What the heck is this? And it didn't take me long to realize I was being given a way into the records. I didn't ask. It just happened. So I know a lot of people who've asked and they receive. For a lot of years, I said, can I have a different way to enter the Akashic Records? Not this way, and not the way I have now, but when I was using a different system. And they said, no, you're not going to get another way. Not now. Because that one was working. It was great. So I just want to start with that. And as I said yesterday in our introduction, when we open the Akashic Records during this time together, use whatever you want. I'm going to introduce you to the Akashic Records Nouveau Invocation, which is what came to me sitting on my deck in the pine trees. All right. If it resonates, if you like it, great. If you know another way, great. All right. I'm just not into that at all, about something being better than something else. All right. Now, we're going to put that up on the screen in just a minute, but I want to talk to you about what happens when you get in there. There's this big, beautiful field of the Akasha, and your Akashic record is there that has the record of your wisdom, incarnational information, where you're currently at, what your future potential is. It's all there. Now, but how are you receiving the right information at the right time? Because, I love to tell this story. Going into the Akashic Records could be just as overwhelming as walking into the door of a library. And it's often used, as this imagery of the Akashic Records as a library. If I stood in the doorway of the library and I just yelled out, can you tell me what I need to know? Because somewhere in there is something that you need. Aside from being shushed, right, by the librarian or Sometimes there's security guards in the doorway. You're going to be shushed by somebody, right? For yelling in the library. But aside from that, it's not going to be helpful for you, is it? It's just not going to be helpful. Just tell me what I need to know. Like, there are a million things you could need to know. What do you want to know about right now? And this is where we like to have guides who will interface with us. And so in the library model, it's like the librarian, right? They come over, they run over after you've yelled in the doorway and say, what can I help you with? What do you need? What are you curious about right now? What are you here for? Right? And then you say, I really want to have my own vegetable garden this year, and I only have a patio, so I need to figure out how to grow vegetables on my patio. Oh, okay. And what does the librarian do? They take you to the right area where all the gardening books are. And then they take you specifically to the area where maybe it's square foot gardening or container gardening on your patio. And they give you that specific information. And how did that come about? Because you said what you needed, what you were curious about right now. And that's how you have a meaningful experience at the library, so that you're going home. If you're curious about gardening, you don't want to go home with a book on midwifery or how to reshoe a horse, or I don't know, nonfiction books about World War II. They're not going to be helpful for what you need right now. They may be relevant at some other point, but not now. So we always want to go into the Akashic Records with this idea that we get the most meaningful experience from it when we go in asking for what we need right now. Right now. It doesn't have to be everything. Just what do we need right now? So now let's go back to the librarian. They're helpful, right? They're guiding you to what you need. They're supportive. Why? Because they know what's in the library. So you have a team of guides. What I call them now are the soul guidance team, because that's what they're doing. They're guiding us to our soul level of awareness. Now, who are they? They're all non-physical guides. And they're constantly guiding you, whether you're knowing or interacting with them or not. Think about anybody you know who would think you are absolutely crazy to think or talk about the Akashic Records. Bring somebody to mind. We all have somebody. No judgment here, by the way. But we all know somebody who you would never even mention this to, right? And guess what? They have a soul guidance team also guiding them. Okay. And you've had a soul guidance team working with you all along. We're not going to go deep into who this soul guidance team is, but know they're non-physical. They're not going to give you a laundry list of their names because the focus is on you. So I like to think of the soul guidance team as a team of specialists who are supporting our growth and our awareness step by step, moving towards our soul level potential. And just like the energies of the Akasha, they're kind, understanding, compassionate, loving, non-judgmental. And some of you are going to need to hear this. They are never critical, judgmental, or punitive. If you hear that in there, just chuckle to yourself and say, oh, look at me doing that thing to myself again. Okay. They're not judgmental, critical, or punitive. They're positive, loving, understanding. Now, what are they doing? When you're in your Akashic Records, they're guiding you to receive from your inner wisdom, your inner knowingness, and they're guiding you to connect with what's already within you. They are not a guru. They're not here to tell you what to do, when to do, and how to do it. I know we want to. We want somebody else to just tell me what's the right thing to do, right? So, but they're guiding us to discover what's right, true, and aligned with us. Okay, So I just wanted to give you that introduction to that. Now, so Lacey, we're at the invocation part of it. So Lacey's going to put up the invocation up on the screen. It's also on page 7 and 8 if you have your workbook. And today, it's actually a 2-page document. We're only going to look at the front side today, where with the invocation on how to open up the Akashic Records for yourself, because I'm going to take you through a guided experience in just a few minutes. Okay. Now, this is really not hard to do. When you're opening the Akashic Records for yourself using this invocation, well, let's back up a second. You notice it says opening invocation, and then down below it says closing invocation. We want to open the records and then close the records. We don't want to go about our day with our records open. It's not ideal. We're in an altered state. So, but let's just focus on the opening right now. And so we just literally read it from top to bottom. You can read it out loud. You can read it silently. You can whisper. You can do it however you want. There's no magic to it. However you want, from start to finish. Now, for right now, I'm not going to break down all of what the words are. I'm just going to invite you to just open to the energy of what this is as we read it together in a minute when we open the records. But basically, we're acknowledging who we are. We're saying we're entering the Akashic Records, and there's a line in there where we're aligning and opening to our soul guidance team. And the last set of words, and so it is, that's like what sets it like we're in the records then. And when we're doing this guided experience, I'm going to guide you through all of it. All right. And what we're going to be doing in this experience is just getting in there and saying hello, energetically looking around, energetically getting a sense of it. We're not going to be going in this time and asking questions. I'm going to encourage you not to ask questions. And I'm not trying to be controlling. I want you to feel the exquisite energy of the space. Because I believe every time you open the records, it's great to just give yourself a moment. The truth is, we crave that sense of love, understanding, and compassion. And so allowing ourselves to go in there and just tap into that and feel nourished by it is so beneficial. Okay, so I'm going to take you on this guided experience. You're going to connect with your soul guidance team, get a sense of them, get a sense of what your space feels like. And then we're going to close the records. All right. But again, all of it will be guided. Now, when it comes to closing the records, the closing part, we're going to do it together. But again, we just read it from top to bottom. Now, there's only one thing I want to point out if you're looking at that. At the very end of the closing invocation are 3 words that most of us are not familiar with. And it says, La Alam, Amin, Amin. And there's a little asterisk there, an explanation. That is ancient Aramaic. And it means we're sealing the work in trust, faith, and truth. It's like to the end of the universe of all universes. Amen. Okay. So sometime I'll tell you a cool story about how those words came to me. But that closes it off. And I'm just pointing that out because they're not words that most of us would normally see. All right. So, all right, let's get ready to open our Akashic Records. So Lacey has that up on the screen. Hopefully you can all see that. If not, that you have it in your workbook. And again, I'm going to read it out loud. I might read it a little bit slowly for you. I might read it too fast for you. I'm just going to try to make it sort of an average speed here. And the key here, when we read in any way to open the records, I feel we want to put our full attention and heart on it and really tap into what we're doing. We're expanding our awareness of ourself from just how we feel about ourselves every day. And we're including these aspects of ourselves that are always there. As we move into this Akashic realm, we're expanding to more easily tap into our Akashic wisdom, our soul's potentials. All right. Okay, I'm just checking the other chat. How are we doing there, Lacey? Everyone good in the other chat on Facebook? Okay, great. Thank you. All right, so let's begin. I fully and completely open to the true source that flows through every aspect of all that is. As I enter my Akashic records, I trust my connection to divine source and know that the love, light, and truth of who I am, my experiences and my understandings remain unbroken and everlasting throughout all time, space, dimensions, and realities. I ask, align, and open to my soul guidance team to bring forth wisdom that is held in the highest and best for all. I open my heart, mind, and will to the truth in this moment and trust that my essence flows through every experience and commit to discovering my divine light. In the name of all that is good, sacred, true, and soul aligned, I open this sacred space with choice, clarity, and intention. And so it is. So let's take a moment now and just close your eyes down if you're in the right place to do this. Some of you may be feeling something already. And just allow for whatever that is. I encourage you to just have a nice, full, relaxed breath. Relax your jaw. Relax your tongue. And allow your awareness to settle into your heart. And the first thing we want to do when we're here is open up our awareness to this field of the Akasha, and particularly the energies and frequencies that are here that we talked about already. That sense of love, understanding, kindness. It's a place where your humanness is understood in its positives and negatives. It's fine. It's all accepted. There's no judgment. All of that is suspended. Very often people feel a sense of greater freedom or ease. Almost like maybe you left a heavy backpack at the door as you open into this very energetically expansive field. And whether or not you're tangibly feeling anything, we just want to open our awareness to it. I'm in a field of love, kindness, acceptance. You might feel that you could breathe a little more deeply. Maybe your shoulders relax a bit. And the way we receive in the Akashic Records is usually through an inner knowingness. So open up to the fact that anything that might happen here can very easily bubble up from within your own awareness, your own consciousness. Now, in this space with you is this beautiful team of your non-physical guides, your soul guidance team. And energetically survey your space. Where do you notice they might be? And by notice, I mean, some of you may have a strong sense that, oh, they're right in front of me, or I feel them surrounding me. Some of you might say, well, I have no idea. You don't need to see them behind your closed eyes. So if you were to imagine where they are, where would you say they are? You can even say that to yourself. Well, I don't know where they are, but if I had to imagine it, I'd feel them over my left shoulder. Allow that to be true. And this beautiful team of guides is supporting you every single moment. Every single moment. Guiding you towards the highest expression of your life, your awareness, your soul, and every single experience that you have as a soul. They're always giving you the choice, your free will, and they will always keep moving you forward. And with your awareness in the space of your heart, even though they're non-physical, imagine yourself making a beautiful heart connection with them. Remember, they know you. They know you better, quite frankly, than you know yourself. So if you feel comfortable, be open to them. Just notice how you feel. And I know I said we weren't going to ask a big question here, but I am going to invite you to ask one question, and I'm going to give it to you. Imagine yourself deeply connected and addressing energetically your soul guidance team. And ask them for one word, one energy, one knowingness, one idea that would be so helpful for you right now. Just one thing. Please don't expect yourself to hear another voice. Imagine it's coming up from within you. What comes up as you ask them? And allow that one thing to be right and true. And then thank them for sharing with you. You can tell them you'll be back. And so I'll invite you now to just take a nice, beautiful breath in for yourself. Feeling your body's response to the inflow and the outflow. And while we're still in the Akasha, become aware of your physical body. And we'll open our eyes and we'll get ready to read the closing. And so it's up on the screen now, and you might be reading it from your workbook as well. And so let's begin. Thank you to the essence of love, light, and truth that eternally supports, guides, and opens in this space and time. I open to the transformation that comes from this soul-aligned wisdom, understanding, and truth that is eternally held in the highest and best for all. May I embody and live all that I received in this moment as my new vibrational reality. I honor all my soul-level teachers and guides, trusting in my conscious, intentional expansion into my highest potential. La Alam, Amin, Amin. All right. So welcome back. And just kind of move your body around if you want. Stretch out, make room for that energetic experience. If you have something to drink, just like with all energy work, it's great to hydrate. And as we're coming back and landing, I'd love to invite you in the chat to share, if you wish, what that word, energy, image might have been that you received when you were in the records. All right, we have one here, patience. I received trust. I received trust. And clarity. Nice. Letting go, allowing space. You are powerful. Woo! Calm, love, unbroken. Wow, powerful. Peace, allotment, perseverance. I was so comfortable, I almost fell asleep. So for me, then perhaps the feeling was calm. Yeah, it could be. That's a great prayer. You are not alone. Ooh, powerful. You are so loved. Trust, coherence, prayer. Beautiful. Excellent. Honest. All right. Wonderful. So the first thing I want to say here is, if you felt like you didn't get something, it's likely that, so first of all, here's my particular belief, is that, sorry, I've got the wrong screen in front of me here. I don't believe we can go into the Akashic Records and do anything in there and not change. I believe if we've asked for anything, or and you're going to hear something we can do in the records in a minute that isn't asking for anything but can create change. The idea is that I don't believe we can go into this sacred space of who we are at our core and not change. So here's what I'd say. If you said you didn't get anything, here's what I'm going to ask you, how I'm going to ask you to reframe it. I didn't get anything on a cognitive or sensory level. Now, some of you may have actually felt something in your body, or you thought of an apple or something, and allow all of it to be true and right for you. So one of the other things that happens is sometimes in the moment of being in the records, we might be asking, or in an experience in the records, and we think, well, I don't know. And later on, after we've closed the records, there's something that feels different, or we might have a new download, that's because we received the energetic shift while we were in the records. And sometimes it's like our cognitive aspects, which are human mind-based things, right? It's like they catch up with us. So I'm not trying to gloss over this, but just allow that whatever your experience was right and perfect. And if there's something that you're supposed to get on the cognitive level, it will. Okay. All right. Now, opening to the Akashic Records, a lot of people want to start right away, and you want to go in with your big, deep questions. Like you want to solve it all right now. How many of you can relate to that? I get it. It makes sense. Like, okay, I can open up to this. Let me go for it. I want to play full out in this space. Now, this is an experience. You know what, Lacey, I just have to say this to Lacey. I don't know where I'm at in my notes right now. So I'll just clue you. Okay. I'm riffing, which I'm really good at. Actually, this is slide number 10. Okay. So one of the things, just like everything else, you have the right to be in the space. You have the right to work in the space, to learn how to grow in it and have it become a very, very meaningful relationship. There are many people in the group right now who've done right here, right now, whether they're on Facebook or here, who've done tons of work in the Akashic Records. I told you yesterday, my friend Maria, who's here, who taught me to read the Akashic Records, she's got a ton of experience. It didn't happen. The depth of our experience came because we spent time there. We've worked. We've developed a deep relationship with that. And it's just the same as when you were learning to walk, feed yourself, ride your bike, do your multiplication tables when you were a kid. It all took that P word, which we really hate, don't we? We practice. And practice happens because we keep going in there and we're willing to keep going. So we have practice, patience, and faith are some really key energies for us to just keep in mind as we're learning to really receive well and easily in the Akashic Records. So you want to trust that this is your space. You have every right to be there. Trust that your most meaningful guidance is in there. And then keep going in, keep practicing. Again, just like you've done this, you've done so much practice for so many things. And even in your professional life, there are things that you didn't know how to do. Maybe you're an accountant, you didn't know how to do that right away. Maybe you're writing books, you didn't know how to do that right away. Maybe you've got your Reiki practice. Maybe you whatever it is that you do, there was a point in time in this incarnation you didn't know how to do it, you did it enough, and then you're good at it. That's what I want you to just take to heart. Now, there are two powerful experiences that I'm going to explain today that you can do from now on. They're my two most favorite experiences. Anytime, to be honest, but also especially in your early stages when you're getting acclimated to working in the Akashic Records. All right. So I'm going to talk about what these are right now. These again are in your workbook, starting on page 9. They're on pages 9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay, you don't have to distract yourself with them if you don't want to right now, but I'm going to talk about them. The first one is something I call the clean slate process. So we all know about like a clean slate. We just want to wipe the slate clean. So this is such a powerful experience. I can't talk about this enough. How many of you have ever felt angry, upset, frustrated, etc., hurt, wounded, traumatized? Like we can all raise our hand on that, right? And if you haven't ever had that, I want to have a cup of tea with you. I want to hang out. I mean, it's just what happens, right? We all have things that are happening. And then when it comes to the space of being in our business, we might have some feelings around that too, right? So what I love about the clean slate process is this is where we go into our Akashic records, settle in just like we did today, just feel the space, connect with the love, connect with your soul guidance team, and then speak your truth. Let it out. Let it out. Swear, be angry, scream, yell, say that you're never going to forgive them. Whatever it is, I'm going to invite you to be totally honest about what your feelings are. Okay? Now, I always have somebody ask, so I'm going to just go at it directly right now. Remember, your soul guidance team and the space of the Akasha is what? Love, understanding, compassion. I've had people say, if I swear and I'm angry in my Akashic records, my soul guidance team is going to leave me. No, humans do that. Your team is not going to do that. They understand that your human experience is hard. They understand that. They understand that you could be hurt, misunderstood, frustrated. So you go in and close your ears. I'm going to swear again. Like you could go in and say, God damn it, I hate them. They were so mean to me. I'm never going to forgive them. You can say the F word. You can just be raw and real. You can say, I don't know that I'm ever going to be successful. My family thinks I'm a failure. I've been told that my whole life. Please get it off your chest. Hit pillows, do whatever you need to do. Be honest. Now, here's the beautiful thing about it. The love, the understanding of your soul guidance team and your space of the Akasha lifts that from you. It lifts it. It absorbs it. It's the same as, have you ever been really upset and you have a really understanding friend and they're not trying to fix it? They might just hug you and say, you know what? Yeah, it sounds like it's pretty hard. I'm so sorry you're going through that. You know, and I love you, even though you're going through that. Have any of you had a friend that does that? And sometimes that feels really good. They're not trying to fix anything. They're not going to tell me, oh, well, you know, you'll get over it. The sun will come out tomorrow. That doesn't always help. Sometimes we just need that love to engulf us. And this is just, imagine the love of the Akasha holding it for you. It can handle it. It transmutes it. Now, how is this beneficial, right? Like, how's this going to help? You're offloading the burden. You're offloading what you're hanging on to. So whenever you're done, it could be 5 minutes, it could be 20 minutes, however long. Here's the kicker. You ready? You close your records and get out. Oh, that's going to drive some of you nuts, right? But I need to know why they did it. I need to know how long this has been going on. Maybe it started happening in another lifetime. We're not looking for any solutions. We're looking for a place to lighten our load. Now, if you have a biggie, you might go in there today and offload, close your records and get out. Go about your day. Just go about your day. And then do it tomorrow. Same story, same events, whatever you want. Do it the next day. Do it the next day. Or 2 or 3 days between. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be every day. But if you have something you really want to forklift out, I suggest going in as often as you can and close your records and get out. let the Akasha hold it for you. Now, listen, it's not sitting on the shelf in your Akashic Records for you to go collect. It's transmuting it for you in the space of love. Now, I've talked about this with people for years as something to do. And I'm going to just share a little story with you. I taught this in one of my classes many years ago. And this one person said, well, they took it to heart. And then there was a bit of time where I hadn't seen them. And then one day I was sitting at lunch with them and they said, remember when you talked about that thing about cleaning the slate? I said, sure, yeah, I do. They said, well, it was so interesting. I went into my Akashic Records and was talking about something, and they were somebody who did writing. They wrote when they were in their Akashic Records. I do the same. And they said that first time I went in and just really laid it all out, I had a whole page I wrote. And they said, and the next day I did the same thing. And I realized I only had 3/4 of a page. And the next day, the same thing. And I had a half a page. And the next day I did the same thing and I had a 1/4 of a page. And the next day I went in and I couldn't remember what I was upset about. That's their true story, by the way. That's not dramatized. That's what they said. It's unburdening. Everyone can do this, whether you're beginning or advanced in the Akashic Records. Go in, settle in, connect with your soul guidance team. Be honest. It's okay. You know what? This human incarnation thing, it's not always pretty. We've been hurt. We've hurt other people. It happens. It happens. But we want to not carry it around if we don't have to. So it's very transformative. That's number one. Okay. How many of you like the idea of trying this out? This clean slate process. I love it. I absolutely love doing this. And because also sometimes, here's what I've experienced with this. Sometimes I'm confused. Like, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. I don't want to make another mistake or whatever it might be, right? But what we can do is go in there and just talk about what's frustrating us. It doesn't even have to be big and bad and ugly, like I made it sound so dramatic before. It could be just going in to your Akashic Records and saying, I am so confused. I don't even know what to do. I really am not clear. Talk out all your options, close your records and get out. And just sit with the energetic change, okay? And then just see what happens with that. You might find that later on in the day, you're not feeling confused and you just feel like, oh, I'm going to just go do that right now. No frustration anymore. None of that. Okay. Now, sometimes when they're bigger things, we need to go in multiple times. All right. But I find this so nourishing for all of us. So nourishing. Try it out. Now, here's the second thing you can do. It's a great way also to work in the Akashic Records, no matter how much experience you've had, but especially if you're new to it. And it's our famous to-do lists. One of the things that I've noticed with us just in our world these days is we have a lot going on, don't we? We have so much going on. We often can feel overwhelmed. And there are many times that we have so many things going on and we feel overwhelmed because we have a horizontal to-do list instead of a vertical one. And what do I mean by that? It means you've put everything as the number one priority. You know, you've piled everything to number one and there's no hierarchy to it. Okay. And that's totally overwhelming. Can't do all of them right now. Can't even figure out what to do first. So I love to do my to-do list experience in the Akashic Records. And what this also helps us do, especially as spiritual entrepreneurs, is it helps us prioritize where we're spending our time in meaningful, soul-aligned ways. Okay, so there are two main ways to do this, and it's in your workbook. And Lacey has it up on the screen too. So here's methodology number 1 of the to-do list in the Akashic Records. Just before you go into your records, make your to-do list. What would you be doing today or this week? What would you do? And just throw it all down on a list. Then what you do is go and open the Akashic Records, settle in, feel the energy, tap into your soul guidance team, and then tell them you'd like some help with your to-do list. And then just start looking at your to-do list and ask yourself, what should I do first today? It might be item number 10. And it might be they're giving you one to do that's like the super easiest, quickest thing to do that you wouldn't have done first. Okay, so then have the energy of the Akasha support you in prioritizing your to-do list. You might have 20 things on that list. And I know I've done this where I go in and I get my maybe 2, 3, maybe 5 things to do. And they say, forget everything else today. And, you know, of course, inwardly, I might say, but I have 20 things on my list. It's like, yep, just do those 3 to 5 things. And then here's the key is then I do them. If we're going to go in there and ask, and then we receive the guidance, we do want to follow through with doing it the best we can. Okay. That's the one way to do it. The other way is to open your Akashic Records and then make your to-do list and ask for the priorities around it. I, again, love to do this because it settles me down. Doing this in the Akashic Records, for me, it's like, oh, I'm receiving this soul level, soul aligned guidance that is focusing me on the things that are right for me to do right now. It helps take us out of overwhelm so that we're more effective. And if we're more effective, we feel more successful. And if we're more successful, we begin to feel optimistic and empowered. So I'm going to invite you, if you have any questions around this, you can put it in one of the chats if you wish. But this is what you can do between today and tomorrow, and even beyond that. All right. We're not practicing it here today just because of the time frame, but if you've had the experience going in the records, these are really easy to do in your records. And so the invitation is to do one or both of them between now and tomorrow. Actually, do it whenever you want, right? Yeah, you can. There's a question here. Do we go into the Akashic Records and celebrate what we got accomplished? I think we should celebrate in the records, out of the records. Do you know what I do? Let me see if I can quickly find this. Well, you're not going to really be able to see this. You see I have victory written here? Victory, and I have things scratched out. That's what I do. When I've accomplished it, I cross it out and I write victory next to every single one, because I think being in celebratory energy and recognize what we have accomplished, not just focusing on what we haven't accomplished, is really helpful. But sure, go in and celebrate. Go in and celebrate. That's part of a clean slate. Like, wow, I'm so proud of myself. I got these things done. All right. Now, if you're playing in our daily challenges or the daily action posts, sometime between now and February 26th, you have plenty of time. Under the number 2, the action item 2, you want to just put in what your experience was with one or both of these. One or both of clean slate or the to-do list. I'm just going to check the Facebook chat here. Oh, overwhelm balm versus bomb. I like that. Yeah, nice. All right. So I can't wait to hear what you feel about this. These are gentle, easy ways to start acclimating to being in the Akashic Records for success. There are lots of them, but these ones are very doable. And we can just wait, maybe 3.5 seconds before we take our biggest, baddest, hardest questions into the Akasha. I know we all want to, right? Of course we do. Of course we do. Now, there was a question a little while ago, is the team, our soul guidance team in the Akashic Records, the same as spirit guides? Now, there's a lot of subtlety here that we're not going to go into, but I believe that the spirit guides that we deal with, like in our everyday life, see, like I said, I believe they're a specialty team, an energetic specialty team. Spirit guides, ascended masters, all of those, they help us in our everyday life. And then you've got your specialty team that are specifically helping you in the journey of your soul. So I don't believe there's an overlap between our spirit guides and our soul guidance team, although I would never say that with certainty. Because remember, we're in this unified field. We live in this field of oneness. So I think eventually it all blends together. Eventually, it's all in a oneness. Personally, that's my particular belief around that. Just looking at questions here or comments to enter the Lacey put it in how to enter the contest. Every day there's a new post. How do you find the post? In the Facebook group, scroll and it'll say number 1, number 2. So in the comments below that, that's where you put your answers. If you're somebody who's not on Facebook, it's okay. It's okay. You can email them to me. I had some people email them to me last night. So I'll just create a little spreadsheet with people's responses. So if you're not in Facebook group, just email it to me. Please put what day number 1, number 2, number 3. You don't have to do them all right now. If you're somebody watching replays, all is not lost. You have till the 26th of February to get them all in. Let me just see if there are any other questions. Okay, wait, I need to explain one other thing about the Facebook group. Where do you find the videos? There are 2 places to find the videos in the Facebook group. Number 1 is in the general feed, scroll and you'll find it. They don't look good. They look like a black screen, but just click on it. It's a video, just scroll and you'll find it. The other place is in the Facebook group, you'll see all the little circles of the people's faces who are in the group. Right below that, there's a white bar and it says different things like discussion, and I don't remember all of them. One of them says media. Click on the word. It doesn't really look like a button. Click on media. And when you click on media, it takes you to another page and you'll see photos, videos, and albums. I'm trying to make an album out of these, but I couldn't figure out how to move it. But if you go to videos, you'll find them there. 2 places in the Facebook group. The other place is on YouTube. So they are getting put up on YouTube. So the homework for today is go into your Akashic Records and do clean slate process and or the to-do list and post what it was like, what you received, what felt good or better. It doesn't matter. Whatever your experience is, post it in the chat. I mean, the comments below the post. Oh, and the fill in the blanks on page 6. Let me just check. Okay, the fill in the blanks on page 6, I'll go over those tomorrow. Okay. Just because I'm just mindful of the time. So I just want to I'll do that tomorrow right when we start. How's everyone doing? How are we doing? Do we have fun? It's all so quick, isn't it? Well, thank you all for being here. It's such a pleasure to be with all of you. And thank you for spending this time. And, you know, I feel like anyone who's willing to be here, we're optimistic, aren't we? We feel that there's a different thing that's possible for us. And we're willing to go for it, which I love. So once again, thank you so much, everyone. I love you all. And I'll see you tomorrow, same time. All right. Take care.